Hey everyone, welcome. This is Dr. Mark Arcuri in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Again this evening, it's Wednesday, time for our weekly live video. And wherever you happen to be watching and whenever that happens to be, it's live here on Facebook, also be on YouTube and at drmarkarcuri.com on the Facebook Live Archives page. So feel free to find it wherever you would like in the future to listen to it again. I think this is such an important topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. Paradise Rediscovered, chapter 11 out of 12, so we're nearly at the end of the book. And I just have to say that chapter 11 is my absolute favorite. I know that for a fact. I don't even need to consider the rest of the chapters as I think about that. As I was preparing today for talking to you this evening, it just struck me that this chapter is absolutely my favorite. I think it's the most meaningful to me personally, even though the entire book is really about my journey and how I can use my journey to help you all on your journey. But chapter 11 is deeply meaningful and personal to me because it's about the person essentially who has shaped my life and continues to shape my life every day. The chapter title, as you'll see up on your screen, is Paradise Rediscovered, Chapter 11. People come into your life to remind you how to be who you are. How to be who you are. And it's a little bit different from reminding you who you are, which they also do, but they remind you how to be who you are. And the difference is the piece of the equation that's added to this dimension from just discovering yourself is the notion of being forced into situations, either situations that you might judge as positive or situations that you might judge as negative. But being forced into situations by these people, and by virtue of being forced into those situations, being thrust into them, you find your way out. And in finding your way out, you discover more and more closely who you really are, your authentic self. But it's that how that comes through in those moments, that you learn how to be who you really are. You learn the kinds of challenges that you'll need in order to let that level of that depth of understanding come through. So that's what I mean by what I say in chapter 11 when I say that people come into your life to remind you how to be who you are. Now, when you have the opportunity to read Paradise Rediscovered when it's published in a few months, you'll find a preface, of course, at the beginning of the book, or if you find yourself doing an e-course or in some other way experiencing the teachings of it, you'll find a preface, and in that preface I talk about one of my greatest motivations in my life, and that being my grandmother Rosie, Rose, and how she had a bit of a reputation for being a rebel, for being a little, people called her Crazy Rosie in the family affectionately, but think of the meaning of that, affectionately or not, and how that affects someone. Um, Knowing what I know now, I would never do that. But Rosie was absolutely my role model. And thinking about her now, she's been transitioned now for 15 or 20 years, I'm not sure exactly. But I know that she never knew when she was alive in this life the impact that she was having on my life at that time. I never knew it myself, so we certainly never talked about it. But I know she never knew, and she certainly never knew, and I never knew, the impact that she would continue to have on me, on my journey for the rest of my life. And it's a profound reminder, and I think it's something that's really important to note here. It's a profound reminder of how we affect other people in our life. Sometimes people we don't even know, just by the way that we live and what we do and what people see. The greatest teaching comes from what people observe from us, whether they know us personally or not, but what they can see us doing if they come across our path. Um, you never know the profound effect that you're going to have on someone and continue to have, perhaps for the rest of their life, even after you're long gone to another dimension. So I want to impress that point tonight, number one, that it's so important to be mindful of the power that you have to shape and influence other people in their lives just by virtue of how you live yours. And don't ever question that, and don't ever underestimate the power of it. Be mindful of it and respect it. Let it guide you. At 57, I'll be 58 on Monday in Maui. Have to get that in again. I'm just coming to understand that now. It takes a while, but it's important. So this chapter is essentially written as an extension of the preface of the book and as an acknowledgement and a gift of gratitude to my grandmother Rosie for all that she's given me in my life. And it brings together the entire Paradise Rediscovered journey up until this point. The notion that somebody who's special in your life, positive or negative, and this ties into Rosie as well. She was always a positive influence in my life. But I've heard stories of other people where she was not a positive memory, is not a positive memory, and was not a positive influence in their opinion. But the impact that she had was the same nonetheless. It was just as strong. So we have people in our lives that come across our path who are blessings in the sense that we get support from them and they encourage us to grow in ways that we really love and can embrace. And then there are people who bless us with challenges, perhaps a quote unquote, I want to say a failed relationship, because I don't think there's a such thing as a failed relationship, but perhaps someone who's challenged us to grow into who we really are, but in a way that's really been difficult for us. Blessing none the same, equally as powerful, if not more powerful sometimes on the surface, but equally as powerful on the longer journey of our life. Those people present us with opportunities to go deeper and deeper and deeper into who we really are. And as we do that, we grow into our authentic self. And as we do that, we put together that puzzle of who we are that I've talked about throughout the weeks so far, the pieces of the puzzle that we discover and construct into that image of who we are. And without them, we couldn't do it. And because of that, it can't happen. They would be there no matter what. But if they weren't, we could never get to that level of authenticity of who we really are. Our job is to be open to doing it, to being there, to learning from them, to learn from the good experiences as we judge them, as well as the bad experiences, and to be open to both of them equally, so that they can enhance us and enrich us and allow us then, in Joseph Campbell's spirit, to come back in the hero's journey, to go through those crises and to come back and to give back to our community who we are, what we've learned, and kind of guide them along on their path as well. And that's what I believe I've done in my life's work. My life's work has been a hero's journey after a hero's journey after a hero's journey. It's going into the depths of who I am and experiencing pain oftentimes, joy certainly a lot of times, and having the opportunity to come back and give what I've learned to other people and hopefully not spare them the pain and the joy of their own journey, because I can't do that, and to do that would diminish the beauty of it, but to kind of help them feel a little bit more grounded in it. So I want you to think about the people who have come into your life that stand out the most in whatever way, whether you judge it as a positive experience or as a negative experience. And think about how they have in those moments and how they continue in your life, even if they're transitioned or people that you're not in touch with anymore for another reason, that they have given you opportunities to examine yourself in the context of your knowing of them. And how that examination has led you to a place where you can begin to know yourself a little bit more deeply and a little bit more expansively, a little bit more holistically, a little bit more meaningfully. And how, if you're aware of that, you can put these pieces together and get a really clear sense of your authentic self, of who you really are. And in doing that, then be able to live into that authenticity which is what Paradise Rediscovered is all about, and be able to live a life that is ever more fulfilling for you, but also by impacting those around you and being mindful of that impact and respecting it enough to impact them in ways that are benevolent and beneficial to them, that you can also help them live into their authenticity. So that's my message in chapter 11. I think this chapter will definitely be the giveaway chapter for the book, that will give it away for people to read, to get a sense of what Paradise Rediscovered is all about. It's critical. It's critical, and I didn't realize it until I brought this chapter into being in my own life and understood where my inspiration for it was coming from, and tying it back to Rosie, who was a beautiful spirit in my life and continues to be years after her transition. Just absolutely amazing. Can't say it enough. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there and let you ponder what I've said. And I hope you'll listen to this video again. I hope you'll scroll down wherever you're watching it, whenever that is, and ask questions or just give us your comments in the comments below and get the conversation going, because it's a really, really good one. And just as a side note, in a few weeks, I'm going to have something really special to share with you guys that's going to be free, a free mini e-course that will sort of be along these same lines. It's not a Paradise Rediscovered by any means. That'll be something else we do. But it's a program that I've put together that's kind of short. It's only a week long, about 8 days. The 8 Days to Authenticity program, which is already available for download in various places on our website at drmarcuri.com. Facebook is there as well on a tab. But I'm building it into an e-course that's going to be a little bit more substantial than the downloadable version, and something that we're going to give away free. So it'll give you an opportunity to maybe look back at this video, and I think I'll reference it there, and use it that week as you begin to go through the process of that rediscovery of who you really are. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Blessings and gratitude from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Next week I'll be in Maui to give you the wrap-up, chapter 12 of Paradise Rediscovered. And if you give me a moment, yeah, the topic is some people seem to have a hard time with change, with moving on. And that's the capstone of Paradise Rediscovered, that you get to the point where you've made this wonderful rediscovery of who you are, but it's hard to make the changes to live into that. So next week we'll talk a bit about that. Again, lots of love and gratitude from Santa Fe, New Mexico this evening. Thank you so much for being here, whenever that is, and we will see you in a week. Ciao.